12/16/13. You know what that means. It's Monday, and you know what that means. Tonight, Introduction to Longevity webinar live worldwide. Introduction to Longevity webinar for insiders and their guests only. An exclusive event for Dr. Glidden's insiders only. Are you stumbling along and growing your longevity business? Are you bursting at the seams with your longevity business? No matter where you are on that continuum, inviting people to the webinars is a fundamentally key aspect of having a successful, thriving business. I know a doctor that says you don't have to suffer with that. If I send you a link to this webinar, will you attend it? I'm trying to make a couple of extra $100 a month, and I'd like to show you what I'm up to. I have no idea if you would like to do it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I'd like you to take a look at it first, and then you can tell me if you'd like to do it too, and if not, well, that's okay, and maybe you'll know somebody that this business model would be good for, because I'm on the hunt for a couple of people to help build my fortune. Check out the webinar tonight. I'm going to send you a link. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how we do it. That's how we get it done. It's easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time for Dr. Glidden Insiders and their guests exclusively. Now, you know, the world's a funny place, isn't it? Certainly is. If we look at the religions of the world, you've got Judaism, you've got Roman Catholicism, you've got many different types of Catholicism, right? You've got Southern Baptists, you've got Born Again, you've got Jehovah's Witness, you've got Mormons, you've got everybody in between. And they're all pulling from more or less the same source, you know, with the possible exception of the Jews and the Mormons. All of these splinter groups of Catholicism, all of the varied different Catholic groups all around the world are basing their information on the New Testament and to a certain extent the Old Testament. And it's the same data, but they draw different conclusions from it. The same data, they draw different conclusions from it. And from the one come the many, and the world goes round and round. Somebody's got to be right, but we don't know who it is that's right. And apparently, we're only going to know who's right post-mortem. Well, according to the Western or Eastern religion, Western religion points of view, that's how it is. Well, my point is, it is a very common life experience for different groups of people to look at the same information and draw completely different conclusions from it. That's kind of just like life. That's how it goes here on old planet Earth. Well, it's no different with medicine. The MDs look at the same human body that the naturopathic doctors do, that the acupuncturists do, that the homeopathic doctors do, that the Ayurvedic doctors do. And each group draws different conclusions from looking at the same data set. Now, the type of medicine that is in control of everything here in the not-so-free world is MD-directed allopathic reductionistic medicine. And for the next couple of weeks until the end of the year, at the top of the hour in every show, I'm going to go over a different aspect of a report that was just released by a group called Medscape. Medscape, it's a reductionistic allopathic centrist think tank, and they review all things having to do with medicine, and they just at the end of the year they publish a document that says the year in medicine 2013, news that made a difference. And I'm going to read you verbatim what the MDs are patting themselves on the back about and what they're criticizing themselves about and how they intend to fix the problems. And if your heads don't collectively explode, you're not paying attention. Again, I can't reinforce enough on this program. The reason that I named this program Fire Your MD is not because I have a vendetta. It's not because I have a personal axe to grind because one MD at some point in time, stole my college girlfriend, right? It's not like that. I recommend you fire your MD because their therapeutics are old-fashioned, dangerous. They are completely out of sync with human anatomy and physiology, and the conclusions that they draw most often are incorrect. Doesn't also hurt my cause, my position, that their therapeutics are the leading cause of death in the United States and the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. And while they've been in charge of our health care, quote-unquote, Alzheimer's has risen from obscurity to become the sixth leading cause of death. We believe Alzheimer's is caused by statin drugs and fat-free diets. The MDs turn a blind eye to this. Autism has risen from 1 out of 10,000 births to 1 out of 50. The MDs are blaming it all on bad genes in the mother, and we, in fact, know that it's the obstetrician's fault. It's a birth defect caused by nutritional deficiencies. That's our point of view. While we've let the MDs drive the bus of medicine, high blood pressure, arthritis, heart disease, all these things remain unchanged, and don't even get me started on cancer. I recommend that you fire your MD because they have nothing for you. It's a dry well. You can keep going back to it over and over and over, but like Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you? The reason that we have a healthcare crisis, the reason that we're up against it, big time, heavy and hard here, all across the not-so-free world. This is not endemic to the United States. It's all North America, all South America, the European bloc. It's everywhere because the MDs are a worldwide infestation that's killing us. Now remember, for, acute disease, they're the people to go to. You got a triple compound fracture of one of your bones, go to the MD. Got a bullet in your arm, go to the MD. Have a third-degree burn, go to the MD. Have a bleeding artery, go to the MD. That's their wheelhouse. Have tuberculosis, go to the MD. But for everything else, their therapeutics are horribly ineffective, dangerous, inexpensive, and deadly. And how can all of this be? Well, it's because of mental inertia, which is informed by a philosophy of medicine, a scientific point of view, a philosophical point of view regarding science, which is old-fashioned, out of date, and just plain wrong. Let's get to it right now. The Year in Medicine 2013 news that made a difference, according to Medline. All right, let's check it out. First article that comes up, over-testing and over-treating. I quote, a total of 17 medical societies released a list of almost 90 common but often unnecessary tests and procedures, many of them ordered for asymptomatic patients. That means patients who go to the doctor and there's nothing wrong with them. 12 of the guidelines issued as part of Choosing Wisely campaign caution physicians that asymptomatic patients probably do not need a given treatment. Well, gee, and unquote. Gee, is that right? So you have to teach doctors postgraduate through a postgraduate mechanism somehow that treating patients who don't have any symptoms is a bad idea. Treating patients who don't have symptoms is a bad idea. That's what you have to teach the MDs. Well, that's great. Two examples are stress echocardiograms, which are not recommended for asymptomatic patients who meet low-risk scoring criteria for coronary disease, and computed tomography, that's a CT scan, which should not be used to evaluate children's minor head injuries. Should not be used to evaluate children's minor head injuries. Separately, the article goes on, and again I quote, separately, a national summit involving a wide range of medical groups as well as hospital organizations and government agencies issued a policy paper detailing strategies for dealing with 5 overused treatments that can harm patient safety and quality. You ready for this? Antibiotics for the common cold, blood transfusions, ear tubes for children, early scheduled births, and cardiac stents. What? What? You're telling, end quote, You're telling me that what wasn't part of the article? That was me. So what's the deal here? You're telling me, number one, that the MDs need to be supervised so that they don't order tests for asymptomatic patients. You'd think they would be taught that in medical school. And also, they need to be supervised to not do procedures that are unnecessary. And why would they do these procedures anyway? They would do the procedures because they're trying to make money for their hospital. They're trying to increase, to maintain the quota of patients and tests that they need to order every month in order to maintain their relationship with the hospital. It's nonsense. It's out of control. Nobody takes responsibility for it. And nobody goes to jail. Who's hurt? The patient's hurt. We give the doctor a pass. Who's hurt? The patient's hurt, and we give the doctor a pass. Who's hurt? Your grandmother's hurt, and we give the doctor a pass. Your niece or nephew is hurt, and we give the doctor a pass. Over and over and over and over and over and over, we give the doctors a pass. And it's a disconnect, a social disconnect, because on the one hand, we're taught that the medical doctor owns the keys to the intellectual kingdom of the science of medicine, and that the medical doctor's mind represents the best and the brightest that the world has to offer of intellectual capacity. And then on the other hand, we have to teach these people with postgraduate stuff not to treat asymptomatic patients. What? These two things cannot be equal. These two things cannot be equal. If your medical doctor was the perihelion of intellectual ability that they have been touted to be, then all of this nonsense would be unnecessary. Ladies and gentlemen, don't take it from me. This comes direct to you. Direct to you. Direct to you from Medscape, the year in medicine. 2013 news that made a difference. We're going to continue with this all week long. Going to the phones when we come back. Hey, our old friend Godfrey from Germany is back. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. 866-582-9933. Give me a shout, 866-582-9933. What's this? Achtung! Our good friend Gottfried is back in the house all the way from Germany. What's going on, Gottfried?
For getting my call. When can I reach you tomorrow?
Tomorrow, anytime after 9 a.m. Central Time.
Okay.
You have an update on the lab test, do you?
I'll send you an email.
Okay, very good. Well, just so the listening audience knows, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to get longevity products approved for entrance for importation into the European Union because they have very stringent rules there as to what you can put in your vitamin supplements and nutritional supplements and how much of it. They've got a remarkable amount of control over that, and it's a big bad voodoo daddy. We're seeing how we can tweak it to the European citizens' advantage because they need nutrients, I think, more than people in the U.S. So what's going on today, Gottfried? Bring me up to speed with your blood sugar and how you feel.
I just want to know, how do you maximize absorption? Is it by taking the product before on empty stomach or after food?
Well, the only problem in this regard, this is an important point to ponder, the problem with type 2 diabetes is minerals. Now, it's not vitamins, it's not essential fatty acids, it's minerals. Your body doesn't have enough minerals in order to metabolize its blood sugars normally. Now, minerals that are in the nutritional supplements by Longevity are very easy for the body to absorb. However, minerals will stick to a phytonutrient called a phytate. Phytate is a nutrient that's in many foods, and if you eat a food that has phytates in it and there's minerals in your stomach, your digestive tract, the minerals will stick to the phytates and you'll poop them out instead of absorb them through the walls of the intestinal tract. So, when we're swallowing mineral supplements, in order to increase their effectiveness, it's prudent either to take the mineral supplements 2 hours after a meal that has phytate in it, 1 hour before a meal that has phytates in it, or just stop eating phytates completely and take the mineral supplements whenever you want. It's that easy. Now, if you take a nutritional supplement, whether it's minerals or vitamins or whatever, and you get indigestion from it, you get a little bit of heartburn, you just feel queasy, you just feel funky, that's because your stomach wasn't able to handle that. And so if that happens, then really the only way to get around that is to bump up your stomach's digestive juice, and the only way you do that is by eating a little bit more food. So you got to go phytate free or take the mineral supplements an hour before a meal that has phytates in it, 2 hours after a meal that has phytates in it, or just, stop eating phytates completely. And you might want to do that as an experiment for 14 days. And I love helping people with blood sugar issues because people with blood sugar issues are trained to take their sugars all the time. So you've got a running score of how well your body is responding to the program. So, try no phytates at all for 14 days and see if your blood sugars get lower. Or you got to kind of mess around with it like that. But phytates are really the only problem here when we're dealing with optimizing blood sugar levels.
So the second one is, since yesterday, I could feel pain in my right eye, which I can see after taking all the fucoisin and the glucogel. Is it a good sign or a bad sign?
Okay, so what is it that you're experiencing in the right eye?
Some sort of pain.
Is there anything else going on with the right eye? Any type of visual improvement or flashing lights or anything?
Flashing light, yeah.
Now, all the time or just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
And is it something new or is that something that you've had before?
It's something new.
Yeah. What color are the lights?
Very bright.
Yeah. And how long does it last?
Oh, about some few minutes or seconds.
Really? All right, Gottfried, stick around. We're up against a hard break. This is interesting. Could be one of two things. I'll clue you in when we get back. Stick around. I appreciate your phone call. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 16th day of December 2013. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here. We're talking to Gottfried from Germany. We have a full board. By the way, if you're listening to the podcast and would like to talk to a living, breathing human being, the number to call, 855-347-3696. That's 855-347-3696. That is, of course, toll-free. So, Gottfried, there's either one or two things that I'm aware of that can cause this. Number one, you can get flashing lights in your visual field if there's something bad happening to the retina. If there's something bad happening to the retina. You can also get flashing lights in the visual field if there's something good happening to the anatomy and the physiology of the eye. Now, either way, there's nothing that you can do here besides what you're already doing. So all that you can do is I would maintain a record. I would write down how many times it happens and for how long and like that. And if you see an increase in the symptomology with no visual benefits, right? It's just flashing lights from time to time, and there's nothing positive happening. Then I would go and have someone look in the back of your eye with an ophthalmoscope. Other than that, you just need to maintain the discipline and hold on to the nutritional supplements in the diet.
Don't get me wrong. This happens when either during the daytime when there's sun or in the night when there's light, and I focus on the light.
Yeah, I understand. So, yeah. So we just have to wait and see, because either way, we're going to recommend the same thing, right? How are your blood sugars doing?
up and down like that at the moment.
Okay, so you got to just stick it in there, buddy. You got to maintain the discipline. Mess around with the phytates. Mess around with taking the sweeties and the selenium and the mineral supplements between meals, and don't worry, it's all going to come around eventually. You know what this is like? This is like a big jet on the runway trying to take off. It takes a long time, then the nose lifts up, and then boom, in 10 seconds, it's way up in the air. We had a woman on a webinar about 2 weeks ago. Her testimonial was it took 10 months for her, 10 months, before anything clicked in. She felt a little bit better. You know, there was a little bit of improvement, but after something magical happened on the 10th month. And after the 10th month, everything came together for her, and it seemed like an overnight sensation. I'm telling you, Gottfried, this is how this is. Medical nutrition does not fail, but it takes time. You just have to maintain the discipline. Keep your fingers crossed, and life is good. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, Skipper, appreciate your phone call. I'll look forward to talking to you tomorrow after 9 a.m. Central Time. From Germany to Oregon, wow, how about that? Where else other than on the radio and the Internet can you go all around the world in a matter of seconds? Talking to George from Oregon. Hey, George, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden. I just needed to call in today because I've got a few questions to ask you about a couple different people in my downline. One of the main ones that we're having is women who are taking the BTT are starting to notice breast sensitivity, kind of on an extreme level. And when they stop taking the BTT and go to the plant-derived minerals or the mineral tabs, then it ceases.
Is that the old BTT or the 2.0?
The 2.0.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have bet $100 it would have been with the first one. So that's not good, number one. Well, it's not bad, but medical nutrition needs to be painless, and, it needs to be, there are no net negative effects at all. It needs to be just feeling good, feeling great, like that. So in a case like this, we need to pay attention to it, and you got to switch out. There's obviously something or a combination of some things in the 2.0 that their body's not liking. So I would switch it out to the old version, the initial version of the BTT, see if the same thing happens. And if the same thing happens, you're going to have to call Dr. Wallach, because I've never, ever, ever heard anybody tell me this before. And it doesn't make sense to me that it's happening, but it's happening. And it's happening to 2 people. So it's a real thing.
It's happening to 4 people, but my wife and several other people that are taking are not having the problem whatsoever. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, this speaks to the individuality of the human species, right? And there are some people that, we are all individuals, and we will react to different things in the world to slightly different degrees, and therein lies the patchwork quilt of humanity. But it's a real thing, so it needs to be attended to. And the basic rule of thumb here, George, for anything, is if anybody experiences any negative effects from any of the nutritional supplements, then they need to stop taking that nutritional supplement and switch it out to something that doesn't give them a negative effect. The next place I would go with the supplement would be the original Beyond Tangy. And then if that gave them a problem, I would switch it to the Tropical Plus. I would go to the Tropical Plus and see what happens.
Somebody had mentioned that Dr. Wallach had said the increase of vitamin K along with vitamin C and E to tolerance would eliminate some of that. But I wasn't sure because, I believe in this. I've seen these supplements work virtually every single time. It's hard for me to believe that there's something bad in them in any way. So I don't think that there is. It's just there's got to be some issue there. So. Yeah,
there's an issue there. It could be an alert. There's 115 fruits and vegetables in there, right?
Right. And
the person can be allergic to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of them, or one of them, or God only knows. And so, right. And it would take tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure out exactly what the biochemical mechanism here is, and so we don't need to do that. But so what do? We lean on our foundation. What does our foundation say? Our foundation says that the body knows how to fix itself. The body wants to fix itself. The body has the ability to fix itself, and it needs 90 essential nutrients to do that. So we start somewhere with a good recipe. We dial it in, and we step back and see what happens. If there's a negative reaction like this, instead of trying to figure it out, well, I would just switch it up until you find a combination that produces no negative effects. And I think
I have one more issue, doctor. Just one more.
Got
a guy who went to an MD, or a naturopathic doctor in Canada, and he was diagnosed with an enlarged prostate a couple years back, and he's been taking the prostate effects. Well, the doctor did some sort of muscle energy testing on him, and he said he did it with all the supplements, and he said they were all good, but that particular one wasn't good for him. So
the prostate effects?
Yeah, prostate effects.
All right. So, well, so muscle testing is a black box therapeutic. I know practitioners who are really good at it, and I know practitioners who are really bad at it. So you really have to kind of I would counsel this guy to look to see what his experience following the advice of this chiropractor or the naturopath, whoever it is that's doing the treatment, what their experience with them has been and how many times the practitioner has gotten it right. Now, if the practitioner's on his game and he's good with this type of diagnostic technique, then he needs to pay attention to that, and I would stop taking the ProstFX. However, we need not overlook the obvious, that selenium is an extremely important nutrient for the prostate. Selenium. So make sure he's taking selenium sufficient to the cause, and, our recommendation is 1 bottle per 50 pounds per month, stopping at 4 bottles a month. So as long as he's doing the 90 and selenium appropriate for body weight, I'm okay with him stopping the ProstFX, no problem.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you for your time, Doc.
George, hey, man, it's always a pleasure. I'm happy to help. That's why I'm here. Remember, it's people like you that keep this bus rolling. We would be nowhere without people like you. Keep up the good work, George. From Oregon to Pennsylvania, holy smokes, Germany, Oregon, Pennsylvania, where to next? Let's talk to Dora about nosebleeds. Hey, Dora, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. How are you today?
Fantastic, but I'll get better. What's happening?
Excellent. I'm experiencing, let's see, I do the Healthy Start Pack. I take 18 glucogel per day, but I'm still noticing some soreness and stiffness in my lower back. Now, all of a sudden, I'm developing nosebleeds for some odd reason, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I know why. Okay, great.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, you bet I do. So, how old are you, and where are you in your relationship to your menstrual cycle?
I am 45, and I had a full hysterectomy at the age of 25.
Because of what?
Because of endometriosis. Well, actually, they told me that I had bags in my belly. They put me in a mental institution. It was great.
Yeah, don't you just love it?
Yeah, it was
great. Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about that at the top of the next hour, so stay tuned.
Sweet.
I'm going to talk about that. All right then. Now, the most common cause of nosebleeds is not enough calcium. Whenever anybody has a bleeding disorder anywhere, and there's extra blood somewhere where there shouldn't be any blood, the first thing to think about is you don't have enough calcium, because calcium is necessary for the clotting cascade. In order for your blood to clot, a number of dominoes have to fall over, and one of the major dominoes is calcium. If you're calcium deficient, you're not going to be able to clot appropriately, and you'll bleed, 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 and then you'll clot. Another cause of this would be blood thinners that the MDs have given you, Coumadin or warfarin. You're not taking any of that crap, right?
No.
And, all right, how many EFAs do you take a day?
3.
Wow. And you're 180 pounds?
No, I am about 143.
Okay.
And I'm 45 years old.
All right, so you just need to do more calcium. How many ounces of the white liquid calcium you're taking a day?
I had actually upped my calcium.
From what to what?
From one, because I do the powdered. I prefer the powdered. I just think I get more results with the powder. I take 1 scoop in the morning, and I was taking 1 scoop at night, but I changed it to 1.5 scoops in the morning and 2 scoops before bed at night.
And was the nosebleed start before or after you did that?
Actually, during.
There's got to be something else going on. Is there is it really dry in your house, or have you started anything else different, added a different food, or you're dehydrated, or you got a sinus issue going on, anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. I did start, because I have hot forced air heat, I did start running some humidifiers, but,
yeah.
This was, last night it was running pretty good, and I couldn't get it really to stop.
Your nose was bleeding pretty good last night?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do for 3 days, please, is do 3 scoops. 3 scoops twice a day, or 2 scoops 3 times a day. That's better. 2 scoops 3 times a day of the white liquid of the powdered calcium. Make sure you're not taking the calcium with food that has phytates in it. Look it up. Google it.
No.
PHYTAT. Yes. Okay. 6 a day for 3 days, then call me back. Appreciate you, Dora. Keep up the good work. And we're back. Monday, the 16th of December, 2013. Let's finish out the first hour in Kansas with Carrie. Hey, Carrie, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi.
Come on in, Carrie. You're live.
Oh, okay. Great. Hi, Doc.
What's going on?
Oh, enjoy your show and been referring people to it.
Well, that makes you my new best friend.
Oh, well, good. Okay. Well, I wanted to know, please, once more, where can you get a sugar test that's accurate, and what is it called?
All right, so you can order it yourself. You can order it yourself, and the lab, there's a website that lets you do that. There may be more than one, but the one that I'm aware of is called MD Lab Tests, plural. It's TESTS.
Yes, okay.
MDLabtests.com. You just go there, type in your zip code, I think, and then you just select the test that you want. You pay for it online. They send you a little voucher and tell you which lab to go to get the blood work done. So you go down to the lab, you give them the voucher, they draw the blood, and then you get the results electronically. It's awesome.
Okay, well, in the event that I can get it through my insurance, because I pay nothing for labs, if the doctor will write me a script, do you know what the test is called?
It's called, there's 2 things. It's the same thing. It's the same test. It's called hemoglobin, HEMOGLOB like baby, IN, hemoglobin, capital A, then the number 1, then a dash, and then a small C, like Charlie. Hemoglobin A1C. Okay. It's also called glycolated hemoglobin. Glycolated, GLYCOLAT like Thomas E. Glycolated hemoglobin. Depends on which lab it is, but it's one or the other. And you do not have to be fasting when you have the blood test done.
So non-test. My husband had a question. Could he ask it?
You bet.
All right, here this is Jay. He's also from living in Kansas right now.
All right, Jay, what's going on? Thanks for the phone call.
Thank you.
Hi, Doc. I just had a quick question. I talked to my brother today, and he had a case of food poisoning. Went in to see the doctor, and they put him on an antibiotic. But they, in the process, they discovered that they say he has a heart murmur, and they want to put him on blood pressure medication, I guess.
Blood thinning med, right? They want to put him on blood thinning meds, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So this is, again, MD incompetence, because many people have heart murmurs, and there's no problem there whatsoever. If he's concerned about having blood that's not too thin or not too thick, if he wants that Goldilocks blood, which he needs, which you need, which I need, which everybody needs,
Sure.
then regardless of what's going on with the heart, he needs essential fatty acid supplementation, EFA supplementation. So the recommendation for him is 1 healthy brain and heart pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds per month. 1 healthy brain and heart pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds per month. Cipro for food poisoning is stupid, and it's one of the reasons why there is so much antibiotic-resistant bacteria now.
Right, yeah.
It's absolutely, positively the wrong way to go. So you need to counsel him to find, if he's going to continue to go to the MDs, he's got to find one that at least is on his game and that's staying current with literature. So tell him he needs to find a different doctor, or quite frankly, just stop going altogether. But if he doesn't want to take that step, I'm sorry?
Oh, great, except they assigned him one on Medicare. Go figure.
Oh, well, go figure. There you go. Yeah. So
but his blood pressure was 152 over something. He was pretty shocked.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So let me give you a heads up on that. 140 over 90 is the upper limit of normal blood pressure. And in order to have a clinical diagnosis of hypertension, you have to have 3 readings in a row where each number is elevated over 140 over 90. So if just one of the numbers is elevated, it's 145 over 88, he doesn't have high blood pressure. Both numbers must be elevated 3 times in a row, or he doesn't have high blood pressure. It could just be white coat syndrome. He could have been nervous because he was at the doctor's office. 140 over 90 is the upper limit of normal. Both numbers have to be elevated 3 times in a row, or his blood pressure is fine. Thanks, guys. We're up against a break. I'll see you around.